Okay, we're running back out because we forgot something. These little guys require something plugged into the phone, and that's in the car. That's Brian McKenzie's. This thing. There we are. And now. Now, them bitches are green.
Right. Nah. Oh. Ready to fucking shit up.
Okay, round two. I just pinned it on me. 12. Yeah, it's pinned on you. Turn it outside. Can you? Yeah. So that'll pick you up real good. So at the very least, you'll be on the show completely because this is going to go on YouTube.
Okay.
So you're already on the show. All right, man. Damn. Up here to the right. What time is it? It's just starting.
Oh, this is crazy.
Bro, you're good.
What?
So sorry, Charlie.
Can I prop this open?
No. But Brock is here in a few minutes.
I'll come back up and get him.
Thanks, brother. It's good to see you,
The
Charlie.
music started to hit on the.
Okay, Charles. This is.
Yeah.
Hey guys.
Good to meet
what's
you.
up? What's up? What's up?
How's it
That's
going?
Corey. This
What's
is
up, man?
Corey. Grab another seat. That's Brock's seat. Come over closer to me. Closer to me. And grab a headset. Fuck.
Hey, it's welcome to the Mile House City, KLZ, A Guy's Perspective, 5:60 a.m. We've got a whole hour. If you guys want to chime in and give us a call, we're at 303-477-5600. Looking forward to hearing part 2 of today's program, which is...
What was that about? Prison? Is it the prison
Sure.
industrial complex?
You tell me.
What up, B?
What up? The truth here today.
Truth in the booth, man. We got a friend on here too, Corey.
Corey is...
Yeah,
Hey, how's it going, guys? I'm Corey.
he's an actor friend of mine here in Colorado.
Good to meet you,
Oh,
Corey.
what up, Corey?
It's such a pleasure to be on the show with you guys today, man. I appreciate it.
Did you serve time? Is that why you're here?
No.
Tell us about your experience.
Hey, but I have.
I've actually been reformed. Dude, I've been reformed, but through inmates themselves.
What do you mean? You've been hanging with
No,
inmates?
serious. Like, I almost went to prison.
Don't lie, you went to prison.
No. I almost went to prison
All right.
for my driving record. I was an habitual offender. Like, I was complete out of control driving. And so I did a couple months actually in jail. And
Dude,
but while I was in jail, I got reformed by an inmate because I stepped on his shoes.
Oh.
Right? So we were waiting in our cell, waiting to be transferred to the county. And so it was, late in the morning. And I accidentally bumped into this guy that was sitting on the bench, and he had his head down. And he gave me this look. He looked up, he raised up and gave me this look. And I was like, oh, wait, I better shut my mouth. Like, he had a very bad day, right? And so I just,
Yeah, I heard about that bad day too.
Jeez,
Yeah, no,
B.
seriously. So, like the next day, we were separated, and I seen him in a different cell because he was a felon, and he had orange jumpsuits on. and I was in green
Yeah.
outfit, so you know I was a misdemeanor. He was a felony.
Yeah, you were blood.
Yeah, so I
Green.
looked over the
That-
I looked over across.
Oh, sorry, man. I mean to interrupt. We said about the green and the yellow. I didn't
Orange.
realize that was how they categorized you.
Yeah,
When you're
so
in
if
there.
you have an orange outfit on, you're usually a felon, and if you have green, usually you're a misdemeanor.
Oh, it's color coordinated.
So when I
no,
looked across the cell, you see that they separated us at the time. So I seen him with his buddies. This dude had his shirt off and was so ripped, bro. I was like, oh my! He had like 5 or 6 dudes following him in jail. I was like, I can. Dude, no, really, dude, it was reform at the finest. Because it reminded me of what you don't want to come across.
He's like, I'm about to reform you, boy.
Yeah, you don't want to come across like a perfect specimen of a man.
But I think the Lord was using that to get across to me of where I was headed, and then it was time to change. So you know, now I get now I pay.
You drive straight.
Yes, I do. I got all my insurance. I have all my license.
You ain't dirty. You ain't driving dirty.
And you ain't
I
driving
was
dirty
scared
no
straight.
more.
I was
You know,
scared straight. I'm not lying.
Speaking about I mean, I didn't go to jail for it, but I did lose my license, so I had a red license and all that stuff. That's a tough thing, man.
You know the most stupidest thing that happened to me? It was I actually went to jail because of one person that basically pulled me over at 1 o'clock in the morning and wrote a ticket and said, hey, all you have to do is show up and prove you have a license. So, you know, I was in the middle of getting married to my first wife. And that was the farthest thing from my mind. I forgot all about it. Came and went, and I got pulled over for just a simple, I think it was like a turn signal or whatever.
Minor infraction.
By a woman. Next thing I know, another cop car shows up with a guy, and I'm thinking, this doesn't look normal. And then they asked me to get out, and they're like, is there anybody that can drive your truck home? I'm like, why? Like, because you have a warrant out for your arrest. You failed to appear to court. I'm like, you know that was for just because I didn't have my ID, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it's like,
Yeah.
really? You're going to send me to jail because I forgot to appear to show that I actually have a driver's license? Come on.
Right, but it's back to the complete for-profit industry.
Absolutely.
Man, as soon as they can hem you up, man, you're worth money.
And that's what we're talking about. This is actually part 2 of what you guys spoke about last week, and which was that
For-profit prison system,
Yeah.
prison industrial complex.
yeah, we're the only system in the world that incarcerates at, like, I think it was 690 to every 100,000. And in other countries, they're only, they don't even exceed the hundreds.
Right. Do you think in other countries and stuff, there's a lot of the eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth? Like there's justice done by like the community. You still bred from somebody, man. They're gonna steal something from you.
It's so good,
Is
bro.
that Sharia law, man?
Sharia.
Put that stuff
What does
down.
Corey think about? What do you think about that?
About what happens in other countries versus what we do here.
What would happen if you got caught stealing and you actually lost a hand or something?
Well, so that's exactly the first thing that comes to mind, man. Imagine being in Saudi Arabia, right? And you're a kid, you don't know any better. You're like, let me take a pocket of candy.
Horrible. Can you imagine being the parent of that kid? Son, what did you do?
Yeah.
A pocket of candy.
Yep. Well,
But
son.
no, I think that kind of reform would work so good.
Yeah.
I mean, but America's, they got love and
No. I'm with you. This is
It's money.
Money. It's all
money,
about the
money,
money.
money.
Each inmate is worth a certain amount of dollars, and we're the only country that privatized the prison system that I know of.
Capitalized on it.
Yeah, which in other countries they totally believe that should be unconstitutional because now you're privatizing a system that can make money off of you. I mean, come on, man.
But
You're
I mean,
lining
you guys are
somebody's
acting like
pocket.
they're just doing this to get paid. But how many of these inmates are in jail because they committed a crime?
Well-
Come on.
Well, that's where.
Can you agree,
Yeah.
Corey? You can agree.
Well, yes.
Yeah, so I guess where my mind goes is, do you think that the freedoms we do have amount to what this process has created, right? Of institutionalizing people. Do you think our freedoms that we enjoy on a daily basis, do Do you think they weigh as much or more as what you guys are talking about here?
No, I don't know. What are your thoughts?
Well, like we have more greater freedoms here that are
Yeah, so
afforded to us, even
it's
though
kinda
it's a
like,
capitalistic society.
Do you think the scales tip one way more
With
than
freedom?
the other?
Well,
This-
I will
I like that
I
question.
will say
Yeah.
that in America you could start a business of anything,
Sure.
so
Including a prison system.
including a prison system.
Just
Yes. Yes. So that is freedoms. Those are freedoms and those are opportunities and stuff. And I guess honestly, who are we to fault those that have like
Hey, you're
power?
an entrepreneur. We should open up our own private.
Right, but see, so I
correctional
fix chips and cracks and windshields, but I ain't out there with slingshots.
Well, hey, if anybody
I-
wants to
I'm not-
like chime in and throw out something, we have a
I'm not-
business plan for a new correctional facility going up, I believe, as of today. So
Hey,
Yeah.
so if I'm
What's
going
up,
to
Brock?
invest, so what
Brock.
you're telling me if I'm going to invest, let's say I want to invest in real estate. So now you're telling me I should invest in the prison
Prison
to make
system.
money off inmates?
Through
So it's
through
like
BlackRock,
rich sell
through
is an
BlackRock,
apartment?
through BlackRock and Fidelity, they trade with it's like a GEO it's like Geo World Global World something
So basically,
And that-
basically we're making some money off,
off
prison.
prisoners.
That's right.
Yeah,
Come on,
buddy.
part of that system. Not in
So,
it.
so think about this, guys. Like, what's the biggest downfall to the prison system? Though, if you're going to invest in it, what's going to be the setback?
Well, you don't want any inmates dying on your watch.
That's the truth.
Hey, that's
Well,
the
even if
hey.
they
There's
do-
the docket. That's the docket that people. When you go to prison now, they want to know your papers. What are you investing in? If you're investing in the prison system and you're in there, you're gonna get
Hey,
you
you're
get
saying
shanked.
that
You get shanked.
you're saying that most inmates don't get rehabilitated, but how many of the inmates are actually putting an effort to be rehabilitated with like going to school while they're there? Or,
So check
or
this.
such-
Well, I wonder about what he's saying because it makes you. I think the reason why inmates don't get rehabilitated is because when they come out of prison, there's no help for them.
Oh, that's
a
right.
good
Yeah,
point, too.
that's a good
But
point.
check this out. That's funny you asked that because I looked that up too. We're the one again, and I love America, not bashing it by any means. Now the prison system does need some reform. Let's just
It
Reform.
does.
With that said, answering your question, Brian, we're like one of the very few countries that actually are into reform, and all we do is incarcerate through punishment. We are very punitive, with the exception of lopping off a hand or a leg or whatever, but we don't offer those programs from what I was reading. They basically say that most of the population has a high recidivism because all they know is that they've got incarcerated, they get out like Brock was saying, and then they go right back in because either they've learned how to be a better prisoner or a thief or not to be in prison, or they've learned how to talk to the judge or the magistrates, whatever.
Mhm.
So
And again, if
there's no
anybody
reform.
wants to chime in, you can call us at 303-477-5600. Here's a question I want to ask you guys and bring to the table. Because we're going to dive deep into this. Should a minor ever be tried as an adult?
Oh man, I got
That's
What court
That's a
says
good
yes.
question. That's a good
Yeah.
question.
okay. So what scenario would cause a minor, an 18-year-old whose brain isn't fully developed, and let's say he's still in cars since he's a juvenile, he's now 19.
Well, you better use the
Should-
cutoff. The true cutoff is 17, 18.
Okay. So if that's a true cutoff, should he be tried as, or should she be tried as an adult? Let's go around the table.
At 17, unfortunately.
What's that? Keith?
Unfortunately, I mean, I know of circumstances. So I know someone who got hemmed up for 40 years, a 40-year stretch because of something he did at 17.
Wow.
That was pretty
Committed
serious,
murder at 17.
though.
So
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
So
Yeah.
he got tried as an adult.
Yeah, and when you don't have, and unfortunately, when you don't have help and you don't have money and you don't have attorneys, then you get assigned a district attorney, and they're looking for that paycheck
Not a DA. but
or
I think
a
See-
so.
prosecuting. No.
What do you say?
So what came to mind for me is I remember watching the news a couple months back. There was 3 kids a couple years ago, right? They were up on a bridge, an overpass.
Oh, throwing
Okay.
them rocks.
Yes. And
I
so
remember hearing
Hey,
something like
That's a
this.
good tie-in for windshields. Watch out for windshields.
basically, a woman's driving home, or wherever, right?
family or whatever it was.
Yeah, it was a single.
yeah,
It was,
yeah.
I believe, it was just a woman in the vehicle by
Okay.
herself. But anyways, she's either going to work, going to the store, going home, whatever. And these kids, they're up on the overpass and they're dropping rocks, right? And I believe the way it went
Boulders.
is they started off with small
Yeah, it
rocks
turned out to be big.
and then dropped them, and it was funny, right? It was like a game to them.
Sure.
But I think she ended up dying, right?
Yes.
So do
Yes.
you think they should be
Yes.
tried as adults?
They were.
I think
They were.
They
What
were.
do you say?
At 16, 17.
Well, see, I'm with you, Brock. Like, kids are stupid up until their 20s, and it's a proven fact.
That's true.
The first part of your, I forgot which lobe it was, but you just have not
That frontal
your
lobe is
decision
the truth.
making
Prefrontal
abilities. And they've proven that too. But there's also other exceptions. You have people like Jeffrey Dahmer and things like that. Well, not Dahmer, but there's a few others where they've actually pulled the brain after they've been incarcerated, and then through the death penalty, they've investigated the brains and they found out that there's a traumatic event that happened in that frontal lobe.
Well, you could still use Dahmer in that case because he had some brains in the freezer that you could look at the cortex. I know my jokes are flopping. That's 2 for 2.
Truth in the booth. What do you say? Do you think a minor should ever be tried as an adult?
Yes.
I would say yes in certain cases, for sure. I mean, just think about, younger kids nowadays are, 8-year-olds are committing suicide. I mean,
Right.
how do you come across? In our days, when I was younger, you never even heard of such things.
And,
Well,
In the 80s, 70s, 80s, you never heard of an 8-year-old committing suicide.
yikes.
Yeah. For me, I don't think. I'm just against minors getting tried as adults because I'm
Yeah.
with you, Andre. I don't think it works.
It doesn't reform.
Because they don't understand. They're not fully developed.
Oh.
They're kids still. They're teenagers.
Well, are they on the break of being an adult from still
At
being...
18 years old, you're not an adult. I don't care if you were listening into the military or not, man. You're still a kid.
Yeah. Well, looking back
Period.
on that age, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, think about when you were 18. We did some dumb stuff.
Right.
But I'm still doing dumb stuff.
And I feel like that last statement you made there is exactly why you come to the conclusion you've come to.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, because the history behind it, right?
Right, because I think, if listeners out there know more than us, again, chime in at 303-477-5600. I just think that the prison system, when you try somebody as an adult, that's a young man or a young woman,
Well,
they haven't grown up. They're not mature. Their brains aren't mature enough.
well,
What
think
about
think
this?
think of some of this. So think of some of the things that they already don't get the right to do, even though they're imprisoned for something tried as an adult. They don't get to buy cigarettes. They don't get to. They could trade cigarettes in prison now.
But can you buy
But-
cigarettes
but they
in
can't-
prison?
and
Can
you
you
can't-
buy
you can't-
cigarettes
and
in
you can't-
prison?
Well, no, you trade them.
Oh,
You
okay.
trade 'em. But they can't buy alcohol because they're not 21.
True.
They can't vote.
So,
So why revoke all those rights from them and not allow them to be an adult at that
Well,
age? It's
know.
it's inconsistent. It's incongruent. You cannot try them as an adult if you don't also give them adult rights.
yeah, but with
That's
that,
true.
With that said, though, I mean, there are some crimes that are egregious. Let's just be real. I mean, you have some kids there was some kid that beat up some kids so bad that they murdered essentially the other kid.
What age?
I mean, I get it. They were teenagers.
Teenagers.
But I get that. There's that mob mentality piece.
Yeah.
Does that make it right? Because at the end of the day, the question is, you had that choice. And if you go to the anything in this life, if there's any type of accountability, they're going to say, you had the choice, Mr. Hunt. You had the choice.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But
But
don't
see-
you think some people grow up faster than others? I mean, if
yeah.
there's
Some
no
mature
father
more.
in the house and you're having to raise your sister or your brother because their mom's at work, well then guess what? You're growing up just a little bit faster. than
That's
this guy.
another thing. Happy Mother's Day to all you
Oh,
moms
yes.
out there. Since
Happy
you turned around and had to mention
Happy
moms.
Mother's Day, Mom. Even though you ain't listening.
Happy Mother's Day to
My
mom.
mom ain't listening.
Your mom don't listen to you because
No.
you're a hypocrite, bro.
Uh,
Yeah, it's
I mean, if we committed one sin, we committed them all.
Well, not all.
All right there, Jesus.
Because look at it like this. Let's go down the path, and I was going to use this for the next second part of our show, but we'll talk about it now. Like, look at the school shootings that are happening.
Wow.
These young men and women,
Well, and predominantly men. You mean committing the murders?
yeah, that are
Predominantly men.
It-
How many
it-
times has there been a
If
woman?
those Democrats would stop shooting everybody up, then that'd be good.
Well, I just think it's crazy the way that like society is trending. It's almost like,
Chaos?
yeah,
Anarchy?
How are these
The
young
Purge?
men getting the guns anyway?
I mean, do you think
Because
any of
it
that
came
has
from
to?
their parents not locking their safes or whatever. Yeah, one of them came from a law enforcement officer. Where the latest one came from a law enforcement officer, where they should have known better. You know, you keep your guns locked. Their child went in and shot up a school.
Well,
Oh,
Smith
yeah, that's
Smith
right.
knows. Smith knows where the guns come from.
I
Smith
think
and
it's-
Wesson.
I
No.
think it's absolutely crazy.
Man,
that-
why do my jokes suck?
I just think it's absolutely crazy
I
that
like them, man. They're good.
teenagers nowadays are going to high schools and shooting high schools
I mean,
up.
do you think
Yeah.
any
So
of
you
It's
know
this?
what
gotten
I-
stupid. It's gotten stupid and
It is.
ridiculous.
Sorry,
Parents,
it is.
y'all need to lock your guns up.
I mean, do you
period.
think any of this has to do with video games?
Good
No.
Well,
no, absolutely
Brian's,
not.
I mean,
Brian's
they're
not,
bringing up a.
Brian's not
talking
entirely
they're-
wrong. He's not entirely wrong because there's
programming.
there's programming and then there's dissociation and you can't tell the difference between
Ain't no
so-
video
I
game
think-
causing nobody.
No,
to,
I think
to-
video games are just scratching the surface,
I
right?
do too.
We live in an era of information.
I'm disagreeing
Right.
with all
Yeah,
you
okay.
brothers right now.
I agree with you, Corey, because the military does use video games now to train.
train.
Yep. To
Are you
Right.
train.
serious?
So if they're
Make-
using video games,
Yeah.
then you know how much more. I mean, I loved Call of Duty. I love the game. In fact, I love what was it, 007?
Oh,
Remember
yeah.
that?
Oh,
old school game?
GoldenEye?
Oh, it was
GoldenEye?
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
That was the best ever, especially Odd Job. You just didn't know you were getting pelted. Or,
I just don't
But-
think video
But
games.
what I also think is that we're running into a problem where instead of addressing counseling issues, we're just giving people a pill, like, hey, take a pill for this.
Oh, that's good.
So that way, and we're adjusting chemical
Well-
brain structures in little children that don't need that.
This is
adjustment. What they
true.
need-
This is very true.
yeah, what they need is a little more discipline, or they, or depending if you're a counselor, they're going to say, we need to talk about it. But at the end of the day, I mean, my dad was not abusive, but my dad was stern, and when I got punished, I got punished. Same thing with my mom; they dealt that punished me.
Did you
equally.
get your butt whooped?
I got
with
my- I
the
remember-
switch?
I
Oh, bro, there was something
You saw
about
it?
going out and picking out the switch on the tree. Your mama was whipping your butt on the bayou down south in Louisiana. They're
They
handling
could do
business.
whatever.
Oh man, I'm with
Hey,
y'all.
I'm
Now, we're
into
not
that. Tell
advocating
me
abuse, I'm just
where's
saying.
your mama?
But hey, on a serious note,
I'm
do you
telling
think
you,
that
man, mamas
most-
used to handle business.
on a serious note, though, when you read about these school shootings and you dig further into what's going on, there's most of the time
Mental.
there have been signs to the therapist or whoever's at school. They knew that they were making these pictures or whatever they were doing that gave them a sign that something like this was gonna occur, and no one's listening. Like they would go to.
So I got a story. I'm originally from Pennsylvania, right? And I remember I was living in a small town called Tunkhannock, Pennsylvania. And so this kid, he was upset. He had just graduated from high school. He worked at the Wise supermarket. And he was upset because he was trying to become an artist, right? And he had submitted some of his artwork to someone in hopes that he would get into this school. And I guess they told him that, you're no good. Don't waste your time. So we started making these videos, man, like really weird videos, posting them on YouTube. This was back in probably 2014, 2015, somewhere in there. So anyways, he's making these videos, man. And each one, it keeps getting worse and worse and worse. He starts off talking about,
And was this somebody in high school?
they were a young person.
Okay,
They were
okay.
just out of high school,
Okay.
yes. And so he's making these videos, man, and it starts off, like he's talking about what had happened. These people, they didn't like his work, blah, blah, blah. And then the next one, he starts talking about suicide, right? Like maybe I should just kill myself. Then by the last one that he had made before he did what he did, he took a quarter and he's filming all this and he says, I'm going to flip this quarter to decide whether I just kill myself or I go to work and I kill everybody there.
Whoa.
This was
Right?
on a video.
Whoa.
This was
Whoa.
on YouTube, man. It got
Oh,
taken
wow.
down. But ultimately, he flips the quarter. It lands on whatever to decide that he's going to go to work and do this. And dude, this young person, this young man did it, right?
See that goes.
They leave
back
it up to chance.
That goes back to what
It's
Brian
so
was
true.
saying, truth in the booth, and what Dre was saying is that there's such a mental people's minds are messed up.
Depravity,
nowadays. Like
depravity.
because of what we're dumping into our kids
From all mediums, though. From
From
all mediums, Rob.
everywhere.
Well, think about
which
this.
includes the video games and the videos
So
and
remember
the
Gangster
music.
Rap, and then we had all
Yeah.
of a sudden we had the drive-by shootings, we had all these things, and
Yeah.
then now most
It
of the
influenced.
rappers,
It influenced.
yeah, it's programming.
So
And
let
that's
me
what I
ask
was
you this:
gonna
do you
come back to.
think video games or music is more influential on young people today?
Oh, music for sure. Music, hands down.
Oh,
Yeah.
why do you say that?
Because you create an enemy, and that's what you want is an enemy, right?
I mean,
When
you
think
got-
about it.
Well, because you're united. When the enemy is like hated by all of us, then
Right.
we're united over that.
That's
So you feel
true.
part
I mean,
of
think
something.
about it,
It's
they
propaganda.
propaganda,
Yeah.
division.
I mean,
right?
they have gangster rap. I mean,
Uh,
if you ever listen to any of that, it's about shooting your neighbors. I mean, if I'm a gangster, right?
Strawberry,
No, really. If I was
Could
a
you-
gang member and I was going to go do some stuff that you shouldn't be doing, guess what? I'm popping in some music that's going to talk about that
Yeah.
to get me
Could you-
stirred up to go do it.
Could you
If
be?
you-
I mean,
Be.
it's simple.
So do you think
Brian,
it's just
could you
pumping
imagine?
you up to?
Could you imagine like Al Capone having gangster rap back then? Like, you know, be like winding up my car so I could come and kill you.
I mean, but if you think about
Well,
it,
it's not funny.
like
Well,
all
right.
this, all
Right,
this, all
winding it
this translates and gets right back to prison, and why there's so many young men and women going to prison, and when they get out of prison, there's nothing to help them to even change and come right back to the same situation that got them in
There's no
there.
reform in the prisons either,
Right.
and we have the highest incarceration rate. So now you're
But-
overpacked with prisons. So how many people are
Again-
able to, and how many programs are there when you're packed? What's it? Butts to nuts. Sorry,
Nuts to butts.
They're like
no
just
sardines,
sardines,
no butts, no cuts, no coconuts.
just sardines, just piled in with each other. Like,
right.
so this is what I think they
Sardines.
ought to do. Like,
Butts
there's got to be a way that the prison system can say, okay,
But it can't.
this is your crime. We're not just going to lump you guys all together and just do your own thing.
But I think this all
They do.
first started is when they took prayer out of school. I think
Mm.
this really took a turn for the worse when that begun. And how much more do you think that not being able to spank your kids at home
That's
has
huge.
really caused this? I mean, you're not able to discipline your children like you were back in the day without going to jail.
right. I mean, I think back in the day, if you were disciplining your child, I don't think you're not allowed to spank a child. I think you're allowed to spank them, but you're not allowed to beat the crap out of them, right? I mean, you can swat them on the back, and that's. But
I don't
you
know, man. My
we're
mom
not
had
the
a
legal
big old
experts.
paddle. I mean, she had people signing the paddle so she could whip butt.
Yeah, I had to
Oh
say
yeah,
that.
yeah. No. My mom, just so the listeners can understand, my mom was old school from the bayou. Like she had a paddle at
A
the
wood
front
paddle.
door, a wooden paddle that she had
3/4
people
thick.
sign,
Yeah.
so that if
You
you got
remember
out of line, she was whipping butt, and she
But
didn't
what-
care what nobody thought about it.
What was crazy though is Miss Peggy, man, she would bless you when you come
Yes.
in with some oil on your head and
For
draw
sure.
a cross
Pray
of Jesus
through,
on
and
it.
then-
There you go.
Yeah, that's got to
And,
be
and
a
if you step out of line or speak a cuss word, man,
Yeah,
whack,
yeah,
whack, whack.
yeah.
and
That,
it was
Swift.
aerodynamically built. So they had little holes in there. That would, do they have
Aerodynamic.
resistance?
It was
but you know what? Like that kind of stuff worked. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Like nowadays, see, because I disagree with young people being tried as adults still, and it's coming full circle to that because they don't understand what they're doing.
But is that
Listen,
because it'll be
listen.
on their adult record, or is that
Because your
because
brain's
Yeah.
not fully developed yet.
well, and I
Well,
think
think about this. Oh, sorry.
I think the punishment does not entirely fit the crime because
agree.
you're putting them in a situation of which they could never escape from that point. You go to
That
prison
is
at
a good
17.
point.
You go to prison at 17 for egregious crime, and then you're in there with those hardened criminals, man. That's it.
But do you think the
It's like it'll
juvenile?
mess you up
Life altering.
psychologically. It'll mess you up.
Do,
Yeah,
do
you
you think the juvenile defenders are better in some
Oh,
capacity?
no.
You mean as learning how to
Because
do
if-
better crime? Or
No, I mean like if you're not being tried as an adult for your crime, but you're going to be
Juvie and-
institutionalized
Okay,
anyways.
well, look at
You're-
it like this, guys. When you were in junior high, you were with kids your age. If you think about like a 13-year-old going to a high school with seniors, he's going to be nervous And man, that's the
The
Lord
ghosted
again.
Yeah.
He's going to be nervous. So you take a 16-year-old and drop him in with a bunch of 30-year-olds.
Yeah.
Hey man, that better be a bad kid right there. Otherwise, it's going to do something to his head when he finally
He's
gets
gonna do
out.
one or
You
two
want to hear
things, yeah.
nothing but the truth.
Tell
Truth
us.
in the
Who
booth.
wants to hear the truth
Tell
in the
us.
Your
booth?
mom
Yeah,
doesn't.
yeah.
That's
I
why
mean-
you don't tune in.
Oh, that was really funny.
Woo!
No, really, you know, you've heard the saying, you know, if you commit the crime, you do the time.
Yeah.
Bro, that's it, bro. If you want to pick up a gun, right? If you want to be a big boy, pick up a gun and go shoot somebody. It's time to do some time, bro.
See,
There ain't no-
it just
you
depends
when
on
you
the
were a kid, you
circumstances.
picked up a gun?
Some kids,
Stop.
no. Some kids have been born into homes that are so dysfunctional.
So
They don't
Oh,
know
so,
right.
but
So,
then it
so
starts
we're
there,
about
and
to
then-
take a break, and we're going to go into this. We're going to talk about dysfunctional homes, guys.
Well,
That's
I mean,
because that
I'm
goes.
coming
That
back-
goes.
I'm coming back to what
Give
you
us a
guys
call.
said.
Okay.
I
Give us
think
a call.
one out.
303
If you're not taught
477.
accountability, the state
that-
or the country's willing to teach you. That's what it comes down to.
But there's no accountability. There's no accountability when a young man and a young woman grows up in a home that every day they're fighting for a meal. They're
So
fighting
if
for.
there's homes like that all across America, so it's okay for kids to go do what they're doing?
I'm not saying it's okay, but what I'm saying is when you come from a dysfunctional home where there's no mom, there's no dad, there's drugs in and out, what are you going to turn to? You're going to turn to gangs.
All right,
Yep.
guys.
Give us a call.
Okay.
303 477 5600.
That's
Listen.
deep right there. Oh my God.
How long are we on break?
Into
What do you
this,
know?
into
2
this.
minutes.
Yeah,
It is.
you saying.
Thanks for letting Corey in, man.
Yeah, it's awesome to be here.
He's probably like, who are these guys?
Yeah, where'd you say you're from that happened? Pennsylvania?
Yeah, I'm from Pennsylvania, Northeast Pennsylvania.
Wow. That's
Yeah, we bust on everybody
what
in the show,
sports
just so
team?
you know.
Oh, no worries.
What football team were you? What football
Oh, so believe it or not, I'm a New Orleans Saints fan.
Yeah.
No, no.
Oh,
Drew
man.
Brees all day.
You ain't, bro.
No, I'm not.
That's
I'm
true.
not.
Drew Brees,
You
baby.
know, does Pennsylvania have a
Oh, they got-
football league?
They got two. They got Pittsburgh Steelers and Philadelphia
Oh, we know
Eagles.
Steve.
Oh,
Steelers.
Philadelphia from
PA.
Pennsylvania, yeah.
Philadelphia.
Guys,
Oh, yeah.
that's deep, so come on and hit it.
I didn't know that.
But
Yeah,
we have
let
to
me- I wanna-
we
I wanna
have to
get you guys.
re-announce everything though for the second half. We got to announce who we are.
Okay. Yeah, we didn't.
We didn't do that.
I had a really good
I'll
point
start
I
us
wanted
off.
to mention. Now I can't remember it.
Hurry, you back. You got 30 minutes.
I didn't know Pastor Tate.
Oh my
Pastor
God.
Tate's advertising.
Yeah.
That's great. I didn't- Did he come in and record it, or
Yeah, I had him come.
he did? Oh, wow.
It's cool.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Oh, listen to my commercial in just a moment. Listen to my commercial.
Back hurts so bad.
Listen to mine.
I love that.
Guys, this is a new set of people we're talking.
Dude, that's a jingle, bro.
It's cool.
That's a jingle right there, man. No, I love that jingle though, man. You got me
Oh.
thinking. I try to get my son to do that.
Whoa.
I know. I try to get my son to do
I
that.
love it.
Hey, Dad. I might have.
Dude, what happened to the plunge of love, man? Part 2,
We're
man.
coming up.
We waited for you, bro.
The one.
Taking
Ooh,
the plunge
Derwood
of
Tate.
love.
We did.
Hey.
Oh, whatever happened to that?
Pastor.
Hey, we're about to start.
Pastor. Pastor.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know that. What's it? Under roof in the house. No. All right, never mind.
It's fucking crazy.
Good afternoon, everybody. This is KLZ 560 AM. Again, you can reach the guys and you can talk to all of us at 303-477-5600. Again, that's 303-477-5600. We want to give a shout out to all the moms. It's Mother's Day right around the corner. We want you to know we hope you have a happy Mother's Day from the guy's perspective. And we're going to continue our second part of prison and reform. And well, let's go around the room so that everybody who didn't hear the first half, which was getting deep and really good, let's start it off with have at it. Tell us who you are, buddy.
Well, I'm the truth. I speak nothing but truth on the radio.
On the radio. Okay, a good thing. Hey, this is Andre, your resident electrical contractor and commercial.
This is Brock, and we got a guest in here today. Tell them your name.
What's up, everybody? I'm Corey, and I'm very honored to be on the show today. I appreciate these guys letting me come in and talk.
Right on.
I'm Heath Hine. I'm an actor in Colorado, and I run Clearview Windshield Repair.
Love that.
And again, if y'all would like to chime in and talk to the guys, it's 303-477-5600. Tell us what y'all think about prison. Does it reform people? Is it messed up? Tell us. Do you think minors should be tried as adults? Let's hear what you got to say.
So now getting back to what Brian said. Now, if you pull a gun on someone and you kill or murder them, or let's just say you bodily injure them, like blow away a kneecap or whatever. You're telling me that you're not going to try them a similar...
No, indeed not. They need to be
so
tried
what would the
different.
punishment be then?
So the punishment you have to
Shoot them
look
in
at,
the knee.
well, you have to
Oh,
look
there
at
you go.
you have to look at the whole scope
Okay.
of things. What is his and hers home life like? What traumatic things have happened to them
Okay.
that cause them to go down that path?
So now I hear what you're saying
Hey.
too, but at the end of the day, you experienced something which brought us to that FBI raid or whatever.
Oh, for sure,
Where
for sure. My house got raided.
because of that.
Because of
Can you explain that?
things that because of circumstances that happened. I opened my doors to things I shouldn't have opened to in my
When an individual.
yes. And so because of that, my home got raided. But I also take into consideration I might be a good man, but
Wait,
people come from
I'm not talking
circumstances that are not
No,
as good.
Let me clarify. So what ended up happening is the guy that you opened up your home to basically murdered someone point blank and stole their drugs, correct? And they served time in the juvenile
Yeah.
system for
Yes,
roughly
yes,
how long?
and they
Which
for a while, and when they got retried, they were tried as an adult because they were adults at the time. But if you turn around and commit a crime at let's say 16, you're 16 years old, you turn around, pull out a gun, and shoot somebody, I don't
Okay.
think you should be tried as
So
an
I
adult.
think-
now
I
let's
think-
go,
I-
let's finish that. We'll hold that thought real quick.
Yeah.
Let's finish that. So that same person, the judge
Had-
brought in a counselor, like literally a counselor.
For sure.
And said, Your Honor, it was basically because, this kid served, time in juvenile hall and he was never properly reformed. He never had a good home upbringing, etc. And, I'm just being devil's advocate.
No.
But
I
ended
get what
up
you're saying.
So they only gave him 10 years for that murder. And then all of a sudden what happened in prison? While he
Well,
was serving that
yeah,
time?
yes.
He murdered again.
In prison,
He
other
murdered
things.
again, and now
O-
he's serving
other-
a life sentence.
But that's as an adult. When you are an adult, you should be
But
tried as an adult.
let me
But
play.
as
Let me
a
play
young
this.
man, you should not be tried as an
But
adult.
let me play this out for possibly Andre's thought here. I want to be in Andre's brain.
That's gonna be
If the original crime got him into juvenile hall for a stretch, then maybe he should have been tried as an adult so that the other people didn't lose their lives
No, indeed not.
when he became
Oh, that's
Because when you
you could have saved some
That's
other
something to
people.
consider.
You could have saved some other people who are out, not necessarily innocent, but out.
again, if anybody wants to chime in on
Yeah.
this, it's
It's just-
303-477-5600. We're Guys Perspective. We talk about everything. I don't think young people should be tried as adults, but
So I got a
seems like
question
the
for you guys.
majority is agreeing that they should.
Do you guys, so from your perspective then, do you believe that maybe the age for what constitute a person as an adult should be changed to a higher?
Oh.
Yes. I do not
that's
believe.
good.
I do not believe anybody up to the age of 18 should be tried as an adult.
Which
19 up should be tried as an adult.
and the irony is that you can enlist and you can serve your
At
country.
17,
Yeah.
Is it
and-
17 or 18?
17.
and you can go fight a war or kill in the line of duty, but if you're just a common street thug, then you
For sure.
basically
No.
can get
Okay, so
Ooh,
when
you
can
know
you,
what?
when can you buy alcohol? What age is that?
21.
21.
21. So you can
Yeah.
see that's where it's messed up. You can enlist in the military at 18, go
Well,
off
you
to
know why.
war, but you can't buy
Yeah.
alcohol.
Check this.
How does that
hey,
make
check,
sense?
Check this crazy twist, man. This kind of like melds together both like thug life, gangster, cartel, Sinaloa, all that kind of stuff, and military and prison. What happens is what you do is
Yeah.
you no. I'm serious. I'm serious. What happens
Screw
is you
that.
what happens is you raise up kids in the gangster life. Then they go off to prison to learn how to kill. Then they come back and they're soldiers on the street for you and in your gang. And then they go to prison.
So that's
See,
what
it's
I'm
all,
saying.
It's all,
so
it's like
prison needs to change how people are reformed.
Absolutely.
It
that's the
comes
question.
back to
Well,
how
how
are we
do
gonna
you
help
do that? How do you reform them if they're not already trying to?
man.
Like
the prison's not trying to reform
They're
you, bro.
They're not.
they're giving you
No, they're not.
opportunities
The
to
prison's
graduate.
not trying to
They're giving you
reform you, dude.
opportunities to
when it was
get an education
public
in jail.
when it was public run, but when it's private run, they're just crowding it.
Yeah,
Crowding it, and
that's
they're stripping
that's
and they're
all
stripping
it is. They
and
are
they're
not
stripping
trying to.
and they're stripping all of that stuff. They're stripping all of the betterment and the reform.
Yeah, okay, I believe that. But
Because-
also, don't you see some of these kids that are
It-
getting sentenced to jail that are acting like they won the lotto? Like
Yeah.
some of these
This is true.
security guards, or what are they called?
Prison search?
Yeah,
Oh,
that are in jail.
Corrections
Yeah,
officer.
correctional
Correction
officers.
officer.
Yeah, they interviewed one. He's like, dude, it's so sad to see these kids come in here and act like they won the lotto because they're going to prison.
Well, I
Okay,
think
so
it's
let me
high
ask you
time.
this.
That's amazing.
Hold on. So let me ask you this: if your 16-year-old goes to lunch from high school and is texting and driving, kills somebody in an auto wreck, you're telling me your 16-year-old should
Vehicular-
now spend 30 years in prison?
Right, the
That's
vehicular
bull
homicide.
crap.
That's
There's
what that
no
is.
way on earth that should ever be allowed.
Yep.
And that maybe that's extreme, but if we're going to sit back and say minors need to be tried as adults, it ain't just in guns. Because cars kill more people than guns. Then we got to cover everything.
That's a good point.
No, I'm being serious with
It's
you
a good
guys.
point.
It's funny you say all this stuff, but in your life,
It makes sense though.
I can totally say this guy it doesn't.
Yes, I done
You
some
don't
jacked
play
up.
on a level playing
No,
field.
no, no,
bro.
no, no.
You
It's not.
don't,
It's not
or you
playing
come
on.
on the radio and
It's-
act like everything's.
No,
gonna
I'm
go-
not saying
every-
that.
we're playing
I
on
have a
that.
bias.
It doesn't work that way.
I know that it doesn't work that way, and I'm having a biased opinion right now.
And so
But
what?
we cannot say you try minors unless you try it around the whole entire circumference.
So my dad says
Unless you're a
where
flat
my
earther.
so my dad says where laws prevail, justice fails, and that's because we've structured laws in such a way that it
Oh,
doesn't
we got a
necessarily
caller coming in.
it doesn't necessarily mean that justice is served.
You bet. And the more laws you make, the more laws that are broken. Think
Yes.
about it. The more
That-
laws you make, the more laws you break.
That's a true statement right there.
Hey, they did that with Mosaic laws, right? Wasn't there only 10 to follow? There was 10 laws to follow.
How's it going? Chime in. Oh, Areno, how's it going?
I guess
No.
Reno's not.
Hey there.
Oh,
We lost
got
Reno.
somebody on
We
here.
lost
How's
you.
it going? Yeah, how's it going?
Hey,
Hey!
Reno.
Chime in. Tell us what you think.
Yeah.
Should minors get tried as adults?
Oh, so Rena, what you're saying is you're agreeing with the truth.
He's agreeing with you today.
And dude, you're a classic example, dude. So, speaking of,
Thanks for calling in, buddy.
Thanks for Reno. Hey, but I gotta say one thing.
Oh, you got more for him,
got more.
Sereno?
You
You got more?
Hey, I think
Man,
you
that's
walk
the truth.
I think you walk a fine line because you can make a case for both situations. You can make a case
Which-
for being tried as a juvenile, or you can make a case for them being tried as an adult. So it's a real fine line.
Okay, well, give us an example. You guys got to give me an example. If you're going to
Hey,
try them as a
Reno.
Yeah, Reno. What's up, Reno?
Sure.
Yeah. Be resistant.
You're agreeing with the the truth in the booth.
Thanks, buddy. We're going to keep moving. Right on, bro.
Just like that.
We'll talk to you in a bit, bro.
Dude, I told you
Okay,
when I-
okay. So
when I
he's
first
bringing
started,
up a good point. Give a scenario. I want you guys to give it a scenario.
I said you're walking a fine line because you can make a case for both scenarios.
But that's
Okay.
It's a hard fine line to.
Yeah, it is.
And also, I mean, I'm not saying that every judge out there, every DA, are perfect or great people, but at a certain level, it kind of sounds like some paranoia, right? Like, do you think that the judges, the DAs, are part of the issue? I mean, they're the ones that are.
That's a good
That's
point.
good, bro.
That is a very good
Dude,
point.
you know what? Now that you just talked about that, that thought came into my mind about watching a show where a DA went to prison. He was in prison.
Your Honor.
Yeah. No, not a judge.
No, is that
DA.
the show you're talking
Yeah, the show Your Honor with Bryan Cranston.
No. It was real life.
Oh, okay.
And so they're interviewing this guy, and he's like, "Hey, man, I feel so bad for what I did. I've tried to get, when I was an attorney, I tried to get criminals as many years in jail as I possibly could. And
Yep.
now that I'm in jail,
That's
Oh, so this guy actually went to jail?
yeah.
So let's stay on that topic. So essentially, have you ever seen that if you commit any type of crime, what's a DA going to do? First of all, they're never going to charge you for what that crime was. They're going to try to stack these charges on top.
Yes.
yes.
Right? Because at the end of the day, they want you to plead down too. How is that constitutional? And how are we fighting against that type of
That's
unconstitutional
good.
action?
That's
Because you
good.
have to have deep
Yeah.
pockets to fight against the criminal
That's
justice
that's
that
true.
we paid for.
See,
So
yes.
we put the money in.
See,
y'all
sticky-
can all
you know?
call us at 303-477-5600 and you can talk to the guys. And again,
So what
that's
you're saying is if-
303-477-5600.
So you're saying if I have no money and I need a lawyer, I'm in trouble.
Yeah.
Probably.
Well, you do.
That's sad.
Unless you
Here's
could
the
put your
problem.
full faith in a public defender.
And
I mean,
and
out here in Denver, the way it works is they all know each other. They all work together. The public defenders are paid just as if they were a district attorney.
Guys, but you also got to
Like the
understand,
same thing, or-
they've went.
Well,
to
I don't know
school,
if it's a
trying, but they're trying to do a job to the best of their ability. Don't you guys think, or do you think they're just
when
like
money
whatever?
when money is involved, it changes the heart of the person and the choices and decisions they make.
So I do got a question. Getting back to the attorneys, do certain attorneys make so much money after so many phone calls, after so many conferences, etc.? I mean, because I can look at that from a family law perspective, where basically it's like, okay, you answered my question once, and then they keep asking the same question. Well, am I getting charged every time
Right.
for that call?
Running the
So-
meter.
For that,
So what they do
What do you mean
Is
by
they'll
that?
they'll give
they,
you an
they
up.
basically make money off of the more they stretch out the case. And will a DA oblige?
Oh, so you're
Like-
saying they stretch it out so that
Yeah.
more money is
To
brought
eventually
to.
you either give up and
That's
say, all right,
deep.
well, I'm done fighting this because I'm tapped out. I'm tapping out right now. I mean,
Wow.
I don't know how that works with a public defender. I mean,
So the public defenders are paid through the state,
uh-huh.
right? So if you're represented by a public defender, it's free to you. You were approved, right? It's like
Yeah, but you're going to jail if you got the public defender.
There's-
Let's be real, man.
Well, it
You're
depends.
going to jail,
It
bro.
depends
You're going
because-
to jail.
because the
public
district
defender ain't
attorney
even remember your name.
and your public defender know each other, right? They're communicating
Yeah, no, for sure.
without the judge, right? They're going back and forth.
For sure.
They're coming up with
Strike a
deals.
deal. Strike
Yes.
a deal.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. And so it depends. I guess it could depend on who your public defender is. How do they present themselves to the DA?
Yeah.
Right. How
Yeah,
well
but
do they
that's-
know
but
them?
That's what I'm saying. If they're co-workers and they're communicating every day, they're probably going to lunch together saying, hey, man, this dude right here, what do you want me to do with him? And
Right.
It kind of feels like a conflict of interest,
It
right?
does.
Okay, now check this out.
Okay.
It is a conflict of interest.
Less than 90% of all federal felony defendants actually basically receive they basically go to they get incarcerated,
Okay.
being defended by a public defender.
90%?
Yeah, and this is for
Wow.
federal. 75, that's if you believe broke. 75 for state felonies.
Wow.
So
it's
maybe
that high?
it does pay to
It does
put
pay
your
to have.
money to defend yourself. As
Yeah,
opposed
so
to-
there you go, criminals, if you're listening.
I've never heard anybody on the radio come out and tell criminals and they were giving you free advice.
Hey, we have some great attorneys on 566.
This is not legal information, by the way.
I'm
Yes,
telling
it's
you,
bad.
man, as a guy's perspective, we'll talk about anything.
But no, I want you to think about what you guys were just talking about. If you pay for a better attorney, you're more lucky. Because I know somebody who has, when the law changed about DUIs, where they became felonies. I know somebody that got 4 DUIs after they changed the law. Right? He purchased the best attorney in Colorado.
Couldn't defend
Right?
him.
Who defended for the Nuggets and for the Rockies and for the Broncos. So he got the best lawyer in town. He has prolonged his sentence for 10 years. He is still
Because the lawyer works.
yeah,
He's making money.
but still you got the
Right,
best,
the
best
DA can
attorney
care
in town.
less.
Right.
But also,
That's a good point too.
it might have prolonged the case, but you also have to look at the flip side, right? That's 10 years of being free.
Guys,
Yeah,
I'll
well,
tell-
here's
hold on,
another
guys.
thing,
I'm going
too.
to tell y'all a
Yeah,
story
here's
about my
another
nephew. I will tell y'all a story about my nephew. My older brother, his daughter. So they were living in Ohio. She was dating, and this is, we're just being guys' perspective. We talk about everything. So I'm going to share this right now. I'm going to tell you how flawed the system is. And it's flawed, and I don't care what nobody says.
It is.
This dude was high on like meth or bath salt or something. My little nephew was 3 years old. This made national news. This dude killed my nephew, sat down after killing him, went and watched TV, turned around and waited for the little dude's mom to get home. She came home. The dude called the cops on himself. That guy got 12 years for killing a 2-year-old.
Battered.
You're
Right.
yes.
I seen that.
Yeah.
I know what
You're not going to sit back and tell me the system ain't flawed. man.
Right. So you're
Hey, was
saying
he a
that
teenager?
stretch. You're saying
No,
that
he was
stretch.
an
How old
adult.
was he?
He was an
Oh,
adult.
he's talking about
This
if
dude
he
was
was-
an adult.
his
Yeah,
age.
yeah.
Yeah.
I seen that.
How
Yeah.
old was
Yeah.
He was just turned like 21 or 22.
Right.
he? See, I bet I don't
And so-
consider that an adult.
I consider that
you're-
as an adult.
So what
And
you're
so
what
he
you're saying
shoulda got,
what you're
he
saying
shoulda
about
got
that.
death penalty, buddy.
So what you're saying about that is that the time didn't fit the crime.
right.
12 years isn't equivalent to the intentionality behind the crimes
So
Right.
think about
and the
this.
severity of it. And
What was his background record? I mean, was he how
That
many
I
matters.
don't know.
previous? Because I also wonder too.
that plays into
I
it.
feel like-
you would think.
I feel like judges. Well, sometimes judges are more lenient, for drug crimes or whatever. They're just like, okay, you've been here how many times, Mr. So-and-so?
Right.
Man, these guys. Well, it's like let's just try one more counseling, whatever. So I get it. Some people know how to utilize and abuse the system too because they learn it. They learn from like, okay, well, I can get away with this judge compared to that judge. If you got this judge, oh no, you don't want that judge. You want this judge. This
Yeah.
judge is the more lenient one. Think about it.
Well, I mean, look at it in the sense of divorce, guys.
Yeah.
I mean, judges are so flawed or skewed. It seems like they take a woman's side so often versus a man. I
But
mean,
do you think
that's
that
true.
has to do with because the man is more able to make money?
No, I think
no, it's because
I
it's a
think
flawed system.
I think there's a lot of bias in it. Let's just be real.
It's biased.
Judges, no matter how justice is supposed to be blind, but it just is not blind at all.
Wow.
It isn't. There's a big disparity in race. There's a big disparity in income. There's so many things that can either set you free and get you acquitted, or otherwise will land you in prison maybe for life.
Talk about that. What do you mean by race? Like, do you think
Well-
certain races get the short end of the stick?
According to
Do you guys really
stats,
believe in the
Statistically.
white privilege?
No.
Oh,
I don't. Well, I think there helps to be a white.
Yeah.
So before we continue,
As a
I
white
want
man,
everybody
I
to understand what the guy's perspective is. We have a black man from Chicago. We have a white guy lives at home with
Lives
mom.
with mama.
What's your nationality, Andre?
I'm Hispanic and my.
Perfect. So Hispanic. I'm Cajun. I'm mixed. What's your nationality?
Oh, I'm a white boy.
So we can cover every topic at any moment. Think about that's how this is
Right,
built.
we're-
So tell us about race. What do you think? What race do you
so,
think?
so everybody wants to also do race, but I will say this.
Okay.
I mean, sometimes you are a product of your environment. Let's just be
Okay.
real. If you can't
Yes.
afford to get out of the ghetto or the inner city,
That's what
then
I'm talking
you just
about.
very much might be part of.
Yeah,
that.
We're
that's
talking
one of
about
those
wealth
processes.
inequality here.
Exactly.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's deep
So
right
I'm not
there.
going to go all race. I'm not going to say that because I think we've come a long way despite what the news tries to do to separate us.
Okay.
I feel like a lot of it really is on who you hang out with, what you really do listen to, you know,
that is
what,
so
yeah,
key.
what you consume on your, you know, whether it's drugs, alcohol, whatever. Alcoholism brings a lot of crime. in
Yep.
it.
I stopped with all my gangster rap. Bop, bop, bop.
So
Bang,
so
bang.
you said
I was gonna say
equality.
that too.
Listen
Talk
to
about it. What do you think?
I listen to Christian
No,
rap.
Yeah, but I mean, how you grow up, do you think that influences or molds who you are or want to be?
Absolutely.
Yes.
What is it? Nature versus nurture, right? So there's your environment, which has an effect and an impact on you, and then there's but then there's also the choice. The person,
Yes.
if they want to follow that
Yeah.
disparity or that.
So do you believe that if you grow up in a home that's full of alcohol and violence, you're going to be that way? Do
So-
you believe that?
So what do you guys call the people who do grow up in these situations, right? But persevere, right? The people that
Heroes.
grow up
Yeah,
and
I
become
call-
successful, the
yeah.
people that grow up and
I
give
love
back
that
to that
stuff.
same community,
Yeah,
Because
there's
hero.
a lot of people. There's a lot of kids.
right? So that to me comes down to not just your environment, right? Your environment plays a huge factor,
Character.
right? You can't deny that.
Right.
But dude, ultimately, you have consciousness. You have awareness, right? These are things that are your God-given right, man. Right? You were born with these.
So do you think? So basically, you think the mindset, along with the environment, it molds you who you are.
Well, like Corey's saying, I mean, and for the most part, people create victim mentality. And if you're a victim
yeah.
in this life,
That
and
is
if everybody
true.
owes you something, or if something didn't do something, it's their fault,
Yeah.
not mine. Or if I did something because I'm a product of my environment. Yeah, it sounds like I think there is a fine line, but at the end of the day, it's his choice.
And I also wanted to ask you a question, Brock, about that
Yeah.
story that you shared with us just a minute ago. I wanted to ask you, man. So, I from what I'm understanding is you do or don't believe in reform. You don't.
I
I do. We
I-
need it.
So my question is, man,
this
that
is my thing. I think this. If you are an adult and you turn around and you hurt a child, you should get death penalty.
But you're saying
I'm
that-
going straight to it. You should
So-
get, if you turn around as a 30-year-old man and you turn around and walk into somebody's house and you rape that family, you get death
So,
penalty.
my
Too bad
question,
for what any judge says.
my question, what I was trying to build up to was, if this person went to jail, right? They served the 12 years.
Hope they got raped in there.
Okay, but my question is if they come out and they're rehabilitated, right? Like the experience, the whole experience led them to rehabilitate, right? They were open to it and they come out, right? They're a
Right.
citizen. They have rights
Right.
now, right? Do you think you'd be able to forgive that person if they prove to you, right? If they put in the work to say, hey,
That's a
I
good
am
question.
reformed
That's a good question.
and I feel
I think personally for myself, if I'm going to call myself a Christian, I have to forgive you, but I am not talking to you. We're not hanging out together.
No.
You're not welcome to my house for kumbaya like we're having right now. We having some kumbaya, but you ain't doing that at my house
Absolutely.
for sure. Like, you know what I'm saying?
That's
Like,
almost
can
like
forgive-
rubbing salt in the wound.
but I,
Forgiving your heart.
because I have a belief system, guys, that when you turn around as an adult, that's the reason I don't believe young adults should be tried as adults, because of this. It opens, God, man, I wish we had more time.
Oh,
I wish we
Yeah.
had more time, man.
Yeah.
Hey, just so you guys know, you can. KLZ 560 has this on a podcast, and we can also do this on Spotify. We also have Facebook, we have YouTube, and some other things like Apple podcasts, etc.
Yeah.
So if you missed this,
So,
episode,
I also
feel
want to
free
say
check
this,
it again.
guys. If you are a Christian, you believe in the Lord, you can forgive somebody, but you don't have to hang out with that person.
Are
You don't
ready
got to
for
talk to
this?
that
Hey,
person.
I just got
Or
one
you
thing.
could.
I just got one last thing to say. Because you guys were talking about it matters about who you associate with and the people that you hang out with. So I've hung out with you guys for about 30 years. So you're saying you're the reason I'm all messed up?
Oh, leave them laughing.
I'm blaming
Leave 'em
you guys.
laughing.
That's a good way to end it. That's a
Thank
good
you,
way to
guys.
end
I'm blaming my friends for living with my mom. So you know what?
No, you're living with your mom because you ain't got your money in order. You need to get your money in order.
Oh,
That's
that'll be our
big
next
right
topic.
there.
We talk on money.
So, see y'all later.
Thank you,
Colorado.
guys.
Later.
Thanks, guys. Perspective for having me.
Yeah.
Oh,
Thank you.
Dude, that was a good show. Thanks, Corey.
Yeah, you too.
Dude,
Yeah, you made it good today, baby.
thanks.
Dude, you guys sounded so good when I was in the car here.
When I was telling the story about
You guys, all you guys sounded good.